Hello everyone and welcome. So having set up your room for your practice, low lights, some candles perhaps and some nice music, let's start with a breathing exercise. Sitting with the eyes closed, belly button slightly firm and in, breathing in into 3, breathing out into 3. So a count of 3 to breathe in, and a count of 3 to breathe out. Smooth and conscious breathing. We're going to start by warming up the wrist. So bringing the palms together, fingers interlaced, turn your hands in circles in one direction. And then the other. Then shaking the hands and the fingers. And crisscrossing the arms in front, one arm on top and then the other, just to soften the shoulders. You're coming to hands and knees, making sure the shoulders are right above the wrists and the knees right below the hips. We're going to move back and forth. This will not only warm up the wrists, but also will give movement and fluidity to the shoulders, to the knees, to the hips, to the ankles. Breathing consciously as well. Then we're going to tuck the toes under and sit back on the heels. With one palm on top and the arms straight, we're going to swing the arms up and down, changing palms. Try to keep the front of your ribs, lower ribs, slightly in so that you move right from your shoulders and you don't arch your back too much. Make sure you're breathing, don't hold your breath. And coming back into hands and knees. We're going to warm up the spine by doing cat-cows. So on the inhale, tailbone up and head up. On the exhale, round the back like a cat, tailbone down, head down. Keeping your arms nice and straight. Just giving some movement to your spine. Inhale to extend. Exhale to flex. Do it at your own speed. And from there, sitting on the heels, separate the knees, walk your hands forward, and then relax your head. For a good stretch of your shoulders, keep your arms straight and the weight on your palms. If you just want to simply relax and rest, you can drop your elbows. Breathing consciously, trying to keep that length on the breath. 3 seconds breathing in, or 3 counts, and 3 counts breathing out. And carefully come back up. From here we come into a plank, so extending the legs into a plank and then moving back into a downward dog. So throw your shoulders, gently reach your shoulders back and lift your hips. Tailbone reaching high to the sky, knees bent. Keep the pressure on your palms, keep your arms straight. And having a bend in the knees will really help you to open more across your chest. There's nothing wrong with bending the knees a little or quite a bit. Keep the navel in and feel your growing longer and longer across the sides of the body, from the hips to the pinky fingers, growing nice and long, taking conscious breaths. Let your head relax. Then we're going to come to sit. So cross your legs to sit, and then bring the soles of the feet together, coming into the cobbler's pose. Start by sitting upright, and then holding your ankles, your shins, or your feet. If you like, you can flutter your legs up and down if that helps you open a little bit more. Otherwise, just let your legs relax. Try to concentrate on sitting nice and tall, shoulders relaxed, and neck also relaxed, and concentrating, of course, on the movement of your breath. 3 counts to breathe in, 3 counts to breathe out. And then carefully fold down. Try to fold down from the hips. Every time you inhale, reach your chest bone up away from the abdomen, and every time you exhale, try to reach a little further from your hips. Try to avoid rounding your back, at least too much. A little bit of rounding is fine. Too much, you're losing the stretch on your hips. To go deeper, you may need to pull a little harder with your arms. Don't force it. Just look for space. Conscious breathing. Conscious breathing. With an inhalation, carefully come up. We're going to do a twist. So placing your right hand behind and the left hand to the right knee. Carefully twist to the right. Twist from the base of your spine, waist, rib cage. Try to keep your shoulder blades towards each other at the back and the collarbones spread at the front. There is no need to turn your head unless it feels good. Inhale to come back to center. Switch your hands, left hand behind, right hand to the left knee. Turn the other way, again from the base of the spine all the way up to the shoulders. See, I'm not turning my neck there. Prefer to keep the head in the center. Conscious breaths. Then with an inhale, carefully come out of the pose. We're going to do a variation of a pigeon pose. So your right leg is in front, your left leg is to the side. See the position of the front leg, shin parallel to the front line of the mat, thigh parallel with the long line of the mat. And then the other leg has kind of like the same shape, like a swastika type of shape. Try to sit tall and long. Use your right hand to support yourself. Then carefully fold again from the hips. See that my right hand is slightly stretched out to the right. My right arm is a little further to the right. It just helps me keep balance. And see how I'm slowly folding there. There's no rush. I'm going slowly. I'm looking for space. Looking for space means that I feel that my hips are relaxing more. It gives me a little bit more space to go further. So I'm never forcing the pose, just going with the feeling. The back isn't rounded. I'm folding deeply from the hips. With an inhalation, carefully come up. To do the other side, simply swing the legs the other way around. Try to find that alignment of the legs where you have a nice square shape, 90 degrees at the knees. If you have to readjust by changing slightly, feel free to do so. Sitting tall for a few breaths, relaxing the legs, relaxing the hips, breathing consciously. And as I feel that there is a little bit more relaxation and openness in the hips, then I start to go down. Going for a full stretch right away might be counterproductive. The body will tend to tense instead of open. So you want to go slowly. You want to feel your body and follow that feeling. See, my spine is more or less pretty straight. I'm not rounding, I'm not folding from the trunk, I'm folding from the hips. Carefully coming up with an in-breath. Remember, when you come out of poses, that's the time when you're prone to get injuries, so come up slowly. Then lying down on the back, taking knees to chest, interlace your fingers over your shins and hold your knees. And then gently rock side to side. That gives a gentle massage to your back muscles. But it also feels good on the hips as well. Then we're going to open the knees and pull the knees with each hand a little in the direction of the shoulders, the armpits. Now we're going to take a twist. So the left arm goes out and the legs go to the right. With the right hand, see, I'm gently adding a little bit of pressure to reach the legs further down. And the position of the arm, as you see there, it changes depending on where it feels better. Straight out, or at an angle, or you could rest your hand on your ribs and rest the elbow on the floor. I'm not really turning my head in any direction. Coming back to center, right arm to the right and the legs go to the left. With my left hand, I'm gently adding a little bit more pressure. For me, this is a very active stretch, meaning that I have to actively get that top leg down and that right shoulder blade actively reach it to the floor. For some people, it's very comfortable and it's a passive stretch. Depends on your level of flexibility. Twists are not the easiest for me, so I have to actively do it. Coming back to center. Planting the feet on the ground. We're going to go for a back bend. So you're going to lift up onto your shoulders. And then the arms extend. You can have the palms flat, or you can interlace the fingers at the back. If you interlace, you get a little bit more grip and you can lift a little higher. Then walking your shoulder blades towards each other will help you lift your chest a little more. Try to breathe into your rib cage. It will help you open up your back bend a little more, rather than breathing in the belly. So this is a good example of how breathing assists posture, in this case back bending. Your breathing, your inhalation will help you go a little deeper into your back bend. Carefully coming down, very slowly, with control. And then coming up to sit, whichever way is good for you. I'm going to step the left foot between the hands, coming into a lunge position. And then we're going to lower the right knee to the floor and point the toes and come up. With the hands on the hips, gently bounce your hips forwards. We're stretching here the right quad, the quadriceps and the right leg. This is a good stretch for your quads. And then a little bit of a back bend and shoulder stretch. So palms together, fingers interlaced, index fingers pointing, reach up to the sky and shuffle your shoulders side to side. It just helps you loosen up a little. Then gently with your front foot, gently push so you can arch back a little more, reaching upwards and backwards. Don't forget to breathe. With an exhalation, carefully lower your hands. Tuck the toes, lift your knee, lift your hips, and step back so that you can switch. See that as you lower your left knee, lower the knee behind your hip. Come up with the hands and hips. Bounce your hips. You don't have to do this, but I like it. Helps you gain just an extra stretch there. Extend the arms, palms together, interlace your fingers, shuffle the shoulders side to side. And then keeping the hips forward with your front foot, push so you can reach with your arms. Side of the body grows long, lower back also grows long, chest lifts. 3 counts to breathe in, 3 counts to breathe out. With an exhalation, lower the hands, tuck the toes, lift your knee and your hips and step back. Any other way you do this is also fine. Lower to your knees and sit on your heels. I'm just turning back so that you can see the pose from the back. You interlace your fingers, you bring the palms together, you take your hands towards the left side. Try to level your shoulders and then guide your left elbow actively towards the right elbow. For me, this is an intense stretch. The left arm sometimes starts to shake a little. That's okay. Don't use full force, but be active on the pose. Now just turning to the side so you can see. Try not to arch back too much. Keep your front ribs slightly in. In this side, right elbow reaches to the left elbow. Keep your shoulders down and leveled, and your breath smooth. Then the palms open, keeping the fingers interlaced. Good grip on the fingers, extend the arms. The arms extend and then go away from you. Away from you. Conscious breaths. Carefully release with control. Then come into your hands, into your forearms, and then extend the legs for a plank and lower your hips to the floor. This is one of my favorite back bends. So make sure your elbows are under your shoulders and then lift one leg, extend the leg and then roll the front of the thigh in. Do the same on the other side and perhaps even do it a couple of times. We're just getting some length on the legs and a little bit of internal rotation. You want to push with the arms gently so you're not sinking between the arms. At the same time you want to pull back, and as you pull back your chest will go forward between the arms and the lumbar spine will get a little bit more length. If you still feel the pressure on your lower back, try to guide your tailbone, the very end of your spine, slightly down towards the floor. Breathing nice and deep. Then carefully with an exhalation, slowly release to the floor as you splay your elbows. Come out of the pose. A different type of stretch, good for the shoulders. This is the best stretch for the shoulders. Hips stay over knees, walk your arms. by stretching your arms in front. Keep the weight on your palms and sink your chest towards the ground. Relax your head and let it rest on the ground. Try not to bend your arms. It's a very active stretch. The weight is on the hands, not on the forearms. This is a great preparation for the last pose we're going to do today. Don't forget your breath. Connect with your breath. And always be aware of the pose, the sensations that the pose is offering. Carefully come out of the pose. Just sit there for a moment. You're going to do a back bend standing on the knees. So stand on your knees with your knees hip width apart and your shins parallel. Take the hands to your hips, to the tops of your hips, and push and arch back. Remember, the lumbar spine shouldn't get any pressure. Grow long on your lumbar spine, arching back. If you can, reach your hands to your heels. If you can't reach quite so much, tuck your toes so your heels are lifted. Try to have your hips right over your knees. Chest lifting and breathing into your chest. Shoulder blades coming together, and the shoulder blades feel as though they're pushing against the back ribs to help you lift a little more into that back bend. Conscious breaths, conscious breaths. With an in-breath, very carefully come out of the pose and take a seat. Every time I come out of the pose, take a little seat. It's like a mini meditation. Now, if you don't have the bricks, we did this pose already on the hands. Remember, this is a different variation, but on the forearms. You put your bricks in place. You bring the upper arms on the bricks, and either you have the knees all the way forward, just like we did at the beginning of the class, or the knees back right below the hips. Remember this pose, we just did it right before with the hands on the floor. This is a little more intense stretch on your shoulders, and this one is my favorite pose for shoulders. If you want a little more stretch on your triceps, take your hands, guide them towards your back. Don't forget to breathe consciously. And then very carefully and safely come out of the pose. Now we're going to take the bricks to the wall. We're going to do the bow pose, some call it the crab pose, some call it the wheel pose. If you don't have the bricks, just place your hands flat on the floor. But the bricks are great because just that little adjustment will make it a lot more accessible. You want to bring the head to the wall, the hands to the bricks. Make sure the bricks are shoulder width apart or even a little wider. Plant your feet on the floor, right beneath your knees. With a deep breath, you're going to lift your tailbone towards the sky and then start to peel off your back of the floor. Keep your shoulders, your elbows in. Keep your elbows in. Push up. Strong legs and strong arms. Relax your head. You don't need to look to the floor. Just let the head drop and dangle. Breathe comfortably. And then tuck your chin and lower to shoulders. Rest there for a moment. We will do it again, but we will rest first. So right knee to chest, left leg extended. This is a variation of the twist we did before. Right arm to the right, right leg to the left. Twists are good additions for back bends. It helps, twist help relieve tension on your back. So when you're doing back bends, always add a twist or two. Don't forget your breathing. Coming back carefully, switch your legs. Left knee in, right leg extended. Left arm goes to the left and the knee goes to the right. With the right hand, I'm adding a little bit of weight to guide that knee to the floor. See how my left arm is still hanging? That's okay. Keep the left shoulder blade down the back. Keep your arm extended. Conscious breaths. Always conscious breaths. Carefully come back. Now we're gonna cross the left leg over the right. We're gonna extend the arms to the side. And we're gonna walk the right foot in the direction of the left side. And then, keeping the shape of the legs, take the legs to the floor across the right. Make sure your left knee is pointing to the sky. This is also a twist, but it's also a hip opener. Carefully come back and then change. Left foot flat on the floor, right leg crosses over just above your ankle. And then carefully guide your left foot to the right and slowly lower the legs towards the left. Don't let your right knee collapse in. Try to keep the leg active so the knee points towards the ceiling. The reason why I walk the foot to the opposite side before the twist is so that you get a little bit more stretch, in this case, on your left quadriceps, which is going to be helpful for the back bend. Carefully coming back. We're going to do the next back bend. Again, head to the wall, hands to the bricks at an angle. If you don't have the bricks, use your hands flat on the floor. Feet pointing straight forward, toes pointing straight forward, push and lift. Try to straighten up your arms, try to straighten up your legs, grow longer, use your breath to help you into the back bend. Don't force your breath, soften your breath, and very slowly come down and rest. We're going to come into the cobbler's pose like we did before, but lying on the back, just to take another version, so as we relax. Feet together, legs apart. If you want, you can kind of like swing the legs side to side, rock the legs side to side. It might help you, it might feel good. This back bend we're doing is one of my favorite poses, but it's also one of the hardest poses for me. So don't worry if you don't get it yet. Practice. will help. Remember we did the variation of a pigeon pose, we're going for the full pigeon pose. So left leg goes in front with the shin either parallel to the line of the mat or at an angle, depending on how you feel it on your knee especially. You don't want to hurt your knee. Right leg extends at the back. Try to slide yourself away from that front shin. And then either stay on your hands or go down into the forearms or to the floor. Like I said before, I like to take it slowly. When I take it slowly, the body will open up in its own time and will give me the space to go deeper and deeper. So I was on the hands before, now I'm on the forearms. And I'm just listening for any directions, feeling for the body to open up, to give me some space so I can go deeper. See, there's a little curve on the back, and that's fine. But I'm trying to always go from the hips. I'm trying to always fold from the hips. Don't worry about reaching all the way. Just feel that stretch, that fold come from your hips. Carefully come out of the pose, carefully. Switch your legs. Right shin forward. You can see the position better on this side. So the shin parallel to the floor or at an angle, meaning the right foot comes a little closer to the hip. I'm a lot stiffer on this side. So I think I'm not going so deep on this side, and that's fine. The important thing is not to force it. If you try to force, in this case, try to force this side to copy the other side, you might hurt yourself. Injuring yourself sometimes is a lesson. It's good to learn those lessons, but sometimes it just stops your practice, slows it down. You injure yourself, you have to stop practicing and wait to recover. Remember, always listening. Listening meaning feeling, right? So you're feeling your pose. You will feel a little something on the hips that's easing out, is opening, and then you go, okay, I can go down more. And always remember, it's better to practice 3 minutes a day than 1 hour. 3 minutes a day than 1 hour, one day for a week. If you practice every day, you will be better in the long run doing 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes every day than joining a half an hour practice or an hour practice every week. Remember this, it's very important. Daily practice. 3 minutes, 1 minute, even 1 minute. Carefully come out of the pose. I think we're going for another back bend. That's right, so head to the wall, hands to the bricks. Remember, the bricks at an angle are a great addition to this pose. I think without the bricks I wouldn't have advanced so much. They're cheap. Fingers pointing down. We're doing a variation here with where the feet are moving outwards wider than the hips and the toes are pointing slightly outwards too. Remember, peel off your back, start with your tailbone. Strong legs to push up, strong arms to push up. Breathe, don't force your breath. Smooth, comfortable, easy breaths. If you can't breathe deeply, that's fine. Let it be soft. Carefully come down. Relax. So you're going to lie on the back in Shavasana. I'll guide you through a short relaxation. Separate your arms, separate your legs, relax your head. Just start by bringing awareness to your breath. This time, just allow it to flow freely. No control over it, just feel it. Might be a little fast and sharp from that previous pose, that's okay. Just let it move freely. Let's start with the hands. Just bring awareness to your hands. Just become aware of your hands and any sensation present there. The palms, the hands, the fingers. Then bring your awareness to the forearms. Feel your shoulders and your upper arms. Now bring your awareness to the feet, both your feet, the soles of the feet, the tops of the feet, and the toes. Now feel sensation in your legs, your thighs, and your hips. And now bring awareness to your spine from the tailbone. Slowly move your awareness up the length of your spine, reaching all the way to the base of the skull. And now feel your whole back, your lower back, your middle back, your upper back. Now feel your abdomen, your waist, the side ribs, and the chest. And now feel your throat and your neck at the back. Then bring awareness to your face and your head. And now become aware of sensation arising in your whole body from head to toes. Feel your whole body. Rest here for a few more minutes.